I think it's gonna be a good time.
The teams brought not only their best recipes, but also some competitive spirit.
First time competing, but I've made it many times, so see how it goes.
We just did pastelaya. We got an old family recipe from one of the members, and we stuck to what we know and try to ace it.
I've seen a bunch of smiles, a bunch of high fives. There's some friendly competition is good for everybody, and it's really brought us together, and it's been a fun day.
And when the smoke cleared and the pots were empty, teams from the Department of Parks and Recreation and the Information Technology Department stood victorious. Both will be serving up their best at the United Way event in October to help support an organization that does so much for our community.
Good evening, and welcome to the St. Charles Parish Council regular meeting and budget hearing on Monday, November 6th, 2023, at 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the parish courthouse. Please silence all electronic devices and remove all hats. This meeting is called to order with a prayer and a pledge of allegiance from Father Stephen Dardis with the Holy Family Catholic Church in Luling.
Let us remember that we are in the holy presence of God. Heavenly Father, we lift up our hearts to you, grateful to live in a place where we have some say in our governance and what happens to us and the laws decreed for us. We thank you for that tremendous blessing, and we never take it for granted. We thank you for our elected officials. And Lord, we entrust to you the talents and the intelligence that you have entrusted to us. Guide us in our discussions as we lay everything at your feet. Help us to keep in mind the common good of every individual and the dignity of every person we represent, their material good and their spiritual well-being. Lord God, we entrust to you this evening's conversations. We ask that you would bless all that we say and all that we decree for the good of our community. Be with us, Lord. Teach us your ways. We pray with the words that you gave us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father Dardis. All right, first we need the approval of minutes. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 23rd. I have a motion by Mr. Fisher and a second by Ms. Fonseca. Please cast your votes. And that passes unanimously. Now, special business, proclamations, canvass returns, etc. Item number 2023-0290, proclamation, National Adoption Day. Proclamation. Whereas National Adoption Day was established in 2000 by a coalition of national partners including the Alliance for Children's Rights, the Children's Action Network, and the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption. And whereas in 2002, the coalition gained the support of the Congressional Coalition on Adoption Institute, and by 2003, there were already 120 jurisdictions nationwide observing National Adoption Day. And whereas there are currently many thousands of children in the adoption system waiting to be adopted from foster care to their forever homes, and whereas National Adoption Day is commemorated every year in the United States on the Saturday before Thanksgiving, this day focuses on children waiting for permanent, loving families. And whereas many courts and communities throughout the United States come together to finalize hundreds of adoptions that are in process, and whereas since its inception, more than 75,000 children in foster care have been adopted on National Adoption Day, and whereas the key goal of the National Adoption Day is to raise awareness of foster children in need of new families through adoption. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim Saturday, November 18th, 2023, as National Adoption Day in St. Charles Parish, and encourage all citizens to recognize the importance of adoption and share the belief that every child deserves a permanent home and a loving family. And we have Miss Dana Cousins to accept.
Hi, I'll just say a couple words. Thank you once again for remembering National Adoption Awareness Month, and especially the specific day. I just wanted to share a couple statistics with you that the Louisiana Department of Children and Family Services released. It's from their most recent federal fiscal year. There were 6,272 children served in foster care in that year. 364 youth served in extended foster care, and these are children between the ages of 18 and 21. There were 749 newly certified foster homes, and 700 children were adopted. So just as a reminder of the impact of National Adoption Awareness Month, there continues to be many, many children still awaiting their forever homes, but certainly on National Adoption Awareness Month and other days throughout the year, we want to remember these special children. So thank you once again for the proclamation. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 2023-0291, a resolution providing for canvassing and returns and the declaration of results of the special election held in St. Charles Parish, State of Louisiana on Saturday, October 14th, 2023, to authorize the renewal of the special tax, the ARC, therein. Mr. Dewsome.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Jason Akers wasn't able to be here tonight, so I'm going to take these forms, so bear with me. Yeah, this will just basically canvass the returns and declare the results of the ARC election, so appreciate your support.
Thank you. File number 2023-0291 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Is there any council discussion? All right, none. Please cast your votes for file number 2023-0291. And that passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0292 is a resolution providing for the canvass and returns and declaring the results of the special election held in St. Charles Parish, State of Louisiana on Saturday, October 14th, 2023, to vote upon the adoption of amendments to the current St. Charles Parish Home Rule Charter. Mr. Dewsome.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This is similar to the previous one, just declaring the results of the election for the charter amendments that were approved.
All right, thank you. 2023-0292 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to speak regarding this item, please come up and speak now. Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0292. And that passes with Mr. Dufresne and Ms. Cormier voting nay. Item number 2023-0306, a resolution authorizing the loan application to the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality by the Parish of St. Charles, State of Louisiana. Mr. Dewsome.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. If you recall, last week during the budget hearings, David Generous from Wastewater had mentioned us doing another loan with DEQ to do Hahnville sewer plant rehab. So this is just the very beginning process. In order for us to even apply for the loan, we have to do a resolution from the council saying, authorizing us to just apply for the loan. So this is just the first step in us applying for the 0.95% loan through DEQ for $10 million to do the Hahnville sewer rehab plant.
Okay. File number 2023-0306 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Doesn't appear there is. Okay, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0306. And that passes unanimously. All right. Moving right along. Reports, finance, and administration activities. Item number 2023-0303, Public Service Commission. Mr. Eric Skrmetta is here to report. Hello, Eric.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you for the invitation to come speak to you all tonight. In the last redistricting, the legislature saw fit to remove I'd say about 99% of St. Charles Parish from my district, but as long as I have a square inch of it, I'm glad to come and speak with you all and bring you a report on the activities of the Public Service Commission and how we're functioning. We'll tell you that on a separate note, I had the honor of meeting one of our recipients of the Congressional Medal of Honor yesterday, and remind all of you who see that little blue button to snap your heels together and render a salute for those who rendered that unbelievable action for your nation. The Public Service Commission has been very active in the last few months. We are moving forward with a variety of plans. We recently have gone through some active movement towards making sure we are protecting the system and protecting the grid. The Commission recently passed rules that prohibit control systems from the four enemy states of the Republic. From China, North Korea, Russian Federation, and the Islamic Republic of Iran from providing any equipment that could be utilized in the control of any utility system, as well as rendering any contracting or subcontracting for the purposes of providing any type of IT services or CIT services to any utility for the protection of the grid. In addition to that, the Commission requires now that all utilities and regional or transmission organizations provide plans or statements of secured plans that they can operate their systems manually in case of any cyber attack. Even though there is a national mechanization through the National Electric Reliability Corporation, there is a requirement that we put in place that we have, if not an actual presentation of the plan for the reasons of security, we want to make sure that all utilities provide a statement of proof that they have plans in place to operate. And we feel that those are being delivered to the Commission and being publicly stated, and they have started in the last Commission meeting. So that's important. What we do know from the NERC, in case we do have issues of this type of attack on our system, is that within a few days, meaning within 4 to 5 days, they can render the entire U.S. system back to manual operations if anything was to happen. So I think that provides a certain semblance of security to the public in knowing that power will be deliverable at all points. The Public Service Commission is also working to continue its certification as one of the lowest utility rates in the country. We're not the lowest by a fraction, ahead, right behind the state of Washington, which is highly reliant on hydropower. But we are tied basically with 2 states beyond Washington, and still very, very close to the lowest in the country on the rates. Well, we do have a high consumption of electricity in Louisiana, simply because it's real hot and real humid, and people tend to run their air conditioners a lot. In the wintertime, what people don't realize is that heaters, when it's cold here and it's humid, it's not any fun to live in Louisiana either. But heaters draw more electric current than air conditioners do. We have a pretty high demand when it gets cold here. But what we want to make sure is that we function on making sure that we have reliability of electric service as well as resilience of electric service. And I know this is a concern that President Jewell has mentioned to me. Then resilience means 2 things. Resilience is the ability to withstand demands on the grid, whether it be from consumer demand or from weather or from any other usage. But it also means the resilience is the ability to bounce back. And that's what I've been working on for the terms of my service, is to make sure that in the period of which we have storms or any type of natural disaster, that we can increase the restoration of power to our system as quickly as possible. And since taking office, since a long time ago in 2009, when we had as much as a week to 10 days or more in restoration, we have actually gotten our restoration down for moderate hurricanes down to 2 or even days, or even less in some cases. So unless it's a massive hurricane, like for Hurricane Laura, in some cases which took days, where they had to replace thousands and thousands of poles, the utilities have stepped up and improved their game. Now, resilience as far as the ability to withstand hurricanes and withstand disaster, that is something that we have put in place. But you have to look at it as in the sense of a wave pattern, that the worst elements of storms that face Louisiana come on our shorelines. And the utilities, all of them, whether they are Entergy or the co-ops along the coastline, are improving their ability to withstand the storms in their immediacy. You'll see where Entergy recently established a new substation on Grand Isle, which is the ability to withstand, I would say, pretty much anything. If there's anything left on Grand Isle, if there is a massive catastrophic storm, the one thing that will be left probably is that substation. There is the ability to withstand that, and built into the mechanism of working with Port Fourchon to make sure that the coastal resiliency is there, because that seems to be the one that is continually damaged to a point that has to be rebuilt every time. So the work with the poles, the way they've been reset, everything has been done in that first layer of impact. And as we move back away from the shoreline, the winds take a beating, they reduce, and as we move back, we're addressing how we're going to make the system more resilient as we get further and further away of the higher degree of impact as it comes back towards us. So those things are being improved, and I see a steady improvement as it faces all of us. As we know, some of the bigger problems that we have in the river regions are flood damage and flood issues. We have them raising substations above floodplain. We have other things that are taking place to improve resiliency for the community. I do think that we need to be looking, and one of the things I think is important for the council to look at is, we look at what the federal government places upon us in their goals to bring us to what they refer to as a net zero system, which meaning they want to remove us to a point where we have a reduced carbon dioxide potential in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide was not a pollutant until the Inflation Reduction Act included it as a tag. It is a small amount of gas in the atmosphere. It's 0.4% of the atmosphere now. The goal by some groups is to remove it from the atmosphere, which I think most scientists would tell you is probably not a good thing, that the last time half of it was removed from the atmosphere, we had a 200,000-year ice age. So it's a problem that we don't want to get to again. So what we do want to do is find ways to do this. And where we're going to do this is through new nuclear technology. We are right now in our marketplace, and which is most of the United States, we are 40% coal as providing the power in the United States, not in Louisiana, but the marketplace that we participate is in. New small modular reactors, which are going to take the place of large nuclear plants, can be built anywhere, not necessarily on rivers. They can be put in deserts, in the middle of states. And these are working towards certification by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Once these are done, they can be built in clusters. They're small. We find that we are going to be starting to look at renewable energy, which is not baseload, which is hard to run economies on. These are going to be bridge fuels to the future. And as we move towards a nuclear future, we are going to be able to maintain the coal facilities by just changing out their boilers and maintaining their systems. We are going to be able to maintain our gas fleets because as we move more nuclear, we're going to be able to achieve this net zero facility. And we are going to actually move Louisiana into a greater technological and a more, I would say, tech-oriented economy, especially under the leadership of our new governor and the plans that we have building towards that. So I think we have an interesting and I would say a bright future ahead of us in Louisiana and in the industry of utilities and the industry of energy and manufacturing. And I think that the public can remain secure in knowing that their power is going to be secure. As long as we maintain what we've been doing, which are managed monopolies, and we stay away from the sort of open market access that Texas has done, which has been a disaster for Texas, as it's caused rates and prices to spike all over. And if we keep doing what we've done and keep our focus on this, and I think we will provide the consumer what they've come to enjoy. And I would close with one thing, and I recommend to all consumers watching, if you're having issues with your utility bills and you don't like the idea of paying more in the summer and the winter and less in the shoulders, that your utility company, whoever it is, can put you on bill averaging. And that means they can look at your annual bill and they can average your bills to where your summer bills will not be as heavy on you, or your winter bills won't be as heavy, and they can average your bills throughout the year to make it more complete and easier for you to deal with, especially people who are on fixed earnings or fixed income on retirement. But with that, I'd like to offer to answer any questions you may have.
Ms. Cluley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know this is probably low-hanging fruit, but can your office incentivize some of the utility companies that share the power poles with Entergy to remove the down lines that were left after restoration that are just all over the place?
Absolutely. Are the down lines, you're talking about communication lines?
Yeah, mostly cable,
Absolutely.
telephone lines.
All you have to do is contact me through my office and give me the locations, and we'll have them removed.
All right.
That was easy enough for you, I know.
get busy.
No, in fact, I actually request that whoever's watching, the public is the best bird dog for the Public Service Commission. And, you know, we tend to have problems with communication lines being sort of abandoned off kilter, because they don't, while I say they don't present a danger, there's always a danger associated with it, whether it is, even though it's not live power, it's certainly not something for anyone to play with. So what we want is the public to notify us. And so whoever's district you're in, contact them. If you can't get with them, call my district. We'll make sure we contact whichever utility company it is, whether it's a telephone company or a cable company or whoever it is, they'll come and get that down. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Mr. Scametta, for being here today. Entergy has presented me with some plans, some investment of somewhere to the tune of north of $300 million for infrastructure improvements within St. Charles Parish and various grids, you know, hardening places like where we are with the courthouse to make sure the courthouse can stay running in the event of a storm or come back up quickly, hospitals, schools, things like that. I know that I think they're coming before the Public Service Commission. Are they going to be asking for a rate increase as a part of this resiliency package, or are they looking to do this without doing a rate increase?
Well, I think there's a mixed bag on that, Mr. President. we're looking at a couple of different things. There has been a push by some commissioners to do a massive movement through Entergy to do an expansion of what you would call hardening of the system. Whether or not it's completely necessary is a question mark. Critical infrastructure, government facilities has been sort of the focus of what that could be. The original number that would seem, I believe, I can't actually politely say how high it was, but I'll say it was high, was about $10 billion for the state, which is unnecessary. But there are two ways you can look at recovery of funds for utilities, one of which is to go at it through rate, and can include the rates. Problem is, once it goes into the rate structure, it's there forever. The other way to look at it is through securitization, meaning that they put it in and that it gets paid off, but once it gets paid off, whether it's a 10-year securitization or whatever the date is, it actually goes away. So the recovery is paid off and it's done. I personally think that there are some elements of hardening that do make sense. But the question is what the purpose of the hardening is. If it's there for securing it for the purposes of storms, I think there are some other ways we're starting to look at it. Entergy has put forth a program called Power Through, and we're putting it into play right now in Jefferson Parish, and we're looking at moving and expanding it. And what that is we're working with Entergy to find hosts. And right now in Jefferson Parish, it's grocery stores, hotels, large gas facilities, hospitals, where they're putting in permanent generators. And these generators are there to spread the potential. It's decentralized power plant. Effectively, it's a 120 megawatt power plant, but it's broken up into pieces, and half of it is paid for by the host. The other half is paid for by the ratepayers. But what it is, during the regular day when there's power needed in extra areas, more electrons, it'll come on and it'll feed the area. But when we have a disaster, that host becomes a redoubt for the services it provides. So what I'm hoping to see are the problems we've seen before be alleviated, where we don't have gas stations providing gas. We don't have grocery stores providing groceries. People becoming very upset and nervous about the fact that when we had, I forget which storm, and y'all remember, that sat over the region for 60 hours. And people had gasoline for running their little generators, and they couldn't get gasoline anymore. And the communities become very upset and become concerned, and it's a problem. We even had homicides in Jefferson Parish at gas stations. We had trapped resources in gas pumps. And it's a problem that we want to avoid. So if we can work this out to make resiliency not only about protecting hardening of infrastructure, make sure your connection to the grid doesn't come down, but also to make sure that you've got the ability to provide your power to the system and also transmit electrons in the little area around you to keep things. I think we have to look at really balancing those interests. But I also wanted to mention one other thing, that in the next legislative session, it may go into the third one or the second one. We have a resolution from the commissioner. We're working with legislators to provide a $10,000 tax credit to gas stations, pharmacies, and grocery stores to put in their own backup generation systems, to make sure we can continue this concept of making sure that services will be provided to the public during power outages, mostly from storms, but from whatever purposes, because we're finding that parish governments are hesitating to declare, for evacuations. People are staying at home, and we're working on issues of putting generators on lift stations. We want to make sure we find different ways for people to actually remain and be safe and provide themselves with services. But I do think that it does not necessarily will have to go into the rate, but under federal law, utilities can recover all their costs. So really the magic is we have to find the ways to where we can get it recovered, to get it recovered at the lowest cost and in the shortest period of time, and make sure that doesn't remain on the folks' bill forever. Yes, sir.
Ms. Cluley.
Yeah, one
Yes,
more
ma'am.
thing. You mentioned that most of St. Charles Parish is not your district. Who is our district public?
I would think now it is predominantly Commissioner Craig Green and Commissioner Devontae Lewis share. I think it's Commissioner Lewis may have some, but I know it's He's, I think, more on the West Bank, and I think Commissioner Green has taken over most of what was mine, where I had Ormond and that area.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anyway, I want to thank you for the opportunity to come and speak with you tonight, but as usual, I've never been a sort of like territorial commissioner, so I help people wherever it is. So if anything y'all need from me, I am always there to help you. And Chairman Billings, as you know how to find me, and you have done in the past, regardless of what time it was, to resolve problems. We'll be there as well as President Jewell. We're always there to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to, the Housing Authority is here to report and also present the budget. So we're going to do that at the same time. So that's item number 030, I'm sorry, 0304, Housing Authority, Ms. Yolanda Prevost. Then we're going to jump, she's going to give a report, and then we'll jump into agencies and boards.
Good evening. As she stated, my name is Yolanda Prevost. I've taken over this position due to the passing of our previous director back in May. Since I've been in this position, I've been working with HUD, getting all the requirements in, working with low rent and HCV. What we are doing now, we had 14 units. We had a developer, but not a developer, contractor to come in and fix, because we only had like 47 units occupied out the 3 unit complexes. As you all know, Hornville and Des Alma are vacant. Some of the major activities, like I said, is back in July, we opened up our HCV wait list. With that opening the wait list, we got over 1,200 applicants. Thus far, we have housed about 15, which 5 more should be housed by the end of this month. And each month, we're taking on 10 people we're trying to bring in. With low rent, 5 of the 14 houses that were remodeled, we have 5 just moved in there. We had 2 that maintenance did. We had those people to move in there. We went back into some of the units, and some of them were pretty messed up. So 2 of them mainly, and we are moving those tenants from one unit to another so we can work on those. We are assessing other units that maintenance need to work in. We have a REACT inspection coming, and that's why we're trying to get in there and do what needs to be done. We became troubled because of the last REACT inspection. One of the things I must mention is due to the hurricane, the fences are torn down because trees on the property behind our gate are just falling down on them, falling down over the fence, overgrowth all over. We're trying to get that so we won't get a hit on that, so we can pass fires this year. Also, we have taken steps to access much-needed capital funds allocated by HUD. The steps include preparing the agency required certification for the fiscal year beginning for October the 1st, 21, 22, and 23. And in addition to the capital funds, we have the 5-year action plan for 2022 to 2026 and 2023 to 2027. And the agency plans describes the program services, operational policies of the agency. The plans must be consistent with the parish policies for consolidated improvement and expanding affordable housing. We having a public hearing at our next board meeting at the end of the month. It's a 45-day review period for this hearing, where we welcome anyone who wants to see it to come by or call. And then the board, that after that hearing, will vote on it. The 5-year action plan outlines the capital improvement budget for the Housing Authority. As you all know, we are trying to go through streamline conversion where we're trying to renovate. We finally got HUD approval for, it hasn't been totally approved by HUD, but it went to SACS. That was the last step. And that's a 60-day process. I think we closing in on the 60 days. So once that is approved, we're gonna go in and we're gonna tear down Des Almond and remodel Hornville and Boutique, which was a total of 29 units. We have 66 in Boutique, 51 in Hornville, and 12 units. Now, I don't know if they're going to put up more in Des Almond, since they are tearing them down. As for our budget, with the budget, we are facing a $80,000 deficit. We're working on how to get that down. I had on the budget to hire another person, which would have been $35,000. We scrapping that so that we can have that money. We are gonna take money from the capital funds to help us also with the operating, like I say, see where else we can pull money from in order to keep us going. And that is the reason, cause for that is a lack of occupancy. By only 47 units was being rented out and everything else was closed, we lost revenue. Y'all have any questions?
Do any council members have questions or comments? Yes. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Prevost, you're interim director right now.
Yes.
How's the hiring process going?
They should be coming to a conclusion soon.
Okay.
I think they're gonna have it at the meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but
So
I
you've
know
completed interviews?
They,
Can I answer that one for you?
go ahead.
Currently, what we're doing, we're accepting, let me introduce myself. I'm Rodney Woods. I sit on the board of the Housing Authority. Currently, the board is accepting applications. We're doing a national search for an interim director. We meet tomorrow and going to go in executive session, have discussions, reference that. It is our goal and expectation, hopefully, beginning of January or somewhere in January, that we have completed that process and have a permanent person in for that.
Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure I understood the units, the only units that are currently available, well, not available, but livable, let's say livable, is in the Boutique
Yes.
complex.
Correct.
Okay. And is the arrangement, it's been a few years, but the former director had presented the arrangement with the third-party contractor.
We're still waiting for that to be approved.
Okay,
That's
it's still the same people involved, I guess is
Correct.
my question.
correct standard.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I have a couple of questions. So one of the questions, what Councilwoman Fonseca had asked about the third party, what was going on with that, because I think that they were going to be doing some homes in the Hornville area. So given that you all are still working on it, is it still going to be the Hornville area, the renovation and the homes from, I think the money was coming from DC.
With that, if I may answer that, what our goal is to do using the funds that we're hoping to get from HUD was to renovate. So we're still working with the same partners. Our goal is to totally renovate Hornville, totally renovate Booty. The Zalman will be demolished and totally repaired, actually.
Okay. My second question is the operating budget, the administrative salaries. So I see that the actual in 22 was 132, and the budgeted for 2024 is 100,280. So is that based on, what was the reason for the decrease? Because, what was the reason for it?
Decrease from 22 to now,
Yes.
she had more employees. So she got rid of several employees, like,
Okay, so you're not going to replace them or anything?
no,
Okay.
not at this time, no.
Okay, and one more question. On the surplus, in 2022, you had a $1.9 million surplus, and budgeted in 2024 is a negative 103,000.
I'm assuming that the money, a lot of the money came from like insurance, FEMA. That's why it's in here. But I'm not exactly sure. What I can do is have my fee accountant get with you, and she can explain everything to you. Just not learning this part of it.
Okay, just have them just to email the entire council and the council secretary as well.
Y'all didn't get it? I did email it.
I didn't.
Okay.
We'll get that information to you.
I'll get it to y'all again.
Are there any additional questions or comments from the council? Ms. Cormier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is just a piece of advice moving forward. Things like the question relative to the surplus from 22 to 24 could be explained a little bit better if you guys would include the variance percentages in your budget moving forward. Doesn't have to be this year's, but it helps the council see what line item jumps out when something's off or something significantly changed. So if you can not just put the 22, 23, 24, or the 3 consecutive years, but actually put their variance percentages, your CPA can usually do that pretty easily. It's quite
I'll let her
helpful.
know and have her to redo it and send it to y'all.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Ms. Prevost. And I thank the council for bearing with me. We're going to jump back to ordinances, resolutions introduced for publication and a public hearing. Monday, November 20th, 23, 6 p.m., council chambers. Oh, I'm so terribly sorry. No, we are going to not do that. We are going to hear item number 2023-0305, Parish President's remarks and report. Mr. Jewell.
It's fine. I've got nothing to say. Let me see how I can work you into this report here, Julia. All right. I'll try to be as fast as I can because I know we got a lot of stuff on the agenda. We'll go ahead and just start with Barber Road bank stabilization. That project, sorry. There we go. The Barber Road bank stabilization project is beginning. You can just see right here, this is showing you that the slope of the canal, they're going to be putting in vertical sheet pile and then backfilling to make a shoulder. We've given the contractor some time to procure sheet piles. They were telling us they were having trouble procuring sheet piles, and it's time for them to get started. So the clock has started on them, and they're going to be moving forward to stabilize that bank and that road. The contractor is going to work in segments to fix the canal bank. So there may be intermittent lane closures. Residents should just be courteous, allow cars to come one way and then advance the other. Luckily, outside of school hours, this road is not too heavily trafficked, so the contractor should be able to work pretty quickly. We'll go over, on Friday, we had the Council on Aging grand opening of their new building, and it's going to be next door. It's next door to our community center. The building is now the new hub for the Council on Aging. Their great room will host large events. The kitchen will prepare meals for the day programs as well as home delivery, and their dispatchers will get transportation for those who need it, amongst many other services that they provide. So just want to say congratulations to all those involved who helped plan that and build that building. RSVP Fall Fest was a big success. We had more than 250 seniors who joined our Parks and Recreation, Council on Aging, and RSVP for the Fall Fest, and that was on Halloween, October 31st. The seniors were treated to a Halloween-themed food, fun, and played bingo, as well as a costume contest, which you can see there on the side. Thanks to all of our sponsors who made that event possible. Just a recap on fall sports. Fall sports is pretty much over. We had Parks and Recreation had one of its most active fall seasons in recent years, with 1,175 athletes across tackle football, flag football, fall baseball, tennis, volleyball, and cheerleading. In addition to that, into the youth programs, there were 180 adults participating in cabbage ball and men's softball league, 335 volunteer coaches, and over 600 games played for the fall. The team is now gearing up for basketball season. We usually have about 1,000 players registered, and we partner with the Pelicans, and we're partnering with the Pelicans for another exciting year. So we're moving from one to the next, and we're going to keep our young and our older residents active throughout the parish. Rathbourne construction, the notice to proceed for the Rathbourne Park bathrooms and storage facilities was issued on November 1st. Construction begins this week. If you're out there, you can see the tree was removed in the area where the bathroom will go, and you can see in the picture there that the area is taped off with orange fencing. We ask all of our residents using the park to please try to stay away from this construction area while that's going on. I think the contract time is about 120 or 150 days. So in 150 days, we'll hopefully have a nice bathroom to dedicate in Rathbourne, and that's the number one requested amenity at Rathbourne. St. Rose Drainage Town Hall meeting, November 1st, I met with members of the St. Rose community to present the drainage master plan and discuss community concerns. Members of the St. Charles Parish Council, as well as council members-elect, attended to look at the projects that Principal Engineering recommended for that area and to discuss funding avenues to work on these improvements for years to come. I'll tell you that it is $105 million if you take all of the phases, if you complete all of the phases of all of the projects for all of the St. Rose watersheds. St. Rose is very unique because it has multiple small watersheds. Each one of those watersheds has conveyance and usually a pumping station, if not more than one pumping station. And so we know to get it where we would need it to be, it would require a significant amount of investment. We've already received some capital outlay funds for some projects in St. Rose, as well as requested nearly $50 million, probably a little over $50 million through various grants to build projects for the St. Rose area. There is a need for us to start some more engineering for projects in that area, so we will be looking to do this hopefully in the next in 2024. The drainage master plan is also posted on the parish website along with the presentation for those who missed it. St. Charles Parish Employee United Way campaign. Through this year's campaign, our employees have shattered the previous record of contributions to United Way with an amazing $50,000 combined. So I want to thank all of our parish employees who came out to our fall festival and they had fun and raised money for the United Way. So we appreciate them and everything they did with that. Our 2023 Veterans Luncheon is this Thursday, and we're inviting all St. Charles Parish veterans and their spouses to join us at 11:30 at the Community Center as we honor and thank all of our veterans for their service. Sales tax update. Our sales tax for September is up 0.12% from September of 2022. That equates to about $5,010.64. And we are up 4.3% over the previous year. Want to give everybody an update on the Hale Boggs construction. As you may know, I sent a letter to Secretary Calavota requesting that the work on the Hale Boggs Bridge be updated, I'm sorry, not updated, but expedited due to the large amount of traffic that crosses it every day, which is 48,000 vehicles per day for those who don't know. They were working 510s on the bridge. DOTD requested a change order, and Bow Brothers has said that they can reasonably work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. I think that's like a 68% increase in weekly hours out there. So that's estimated to move the completion date up from February to mid-December. So while I wish it would be over today and that traffic would be alleviated, it's going to be ending much sooner than what was originally intended. And for those who don't know, they're doing pavement and decking repairs on the right-hand lane, and they're doing crack sealing on the left-hand lane. So obviously the right-hand lane has to be finished first, and then they can move over to the left-hand lane. And so we're just asking all of our residents and those who are coming through the parish to just drive with caution and with courtesy to all of the other residents, to make sure to follow the zipper merge technique, if you have heard about that, and really just, again, be courteous to everybody else. Everybody has a place to be, and we want to make sure that everybody gets over the bridge and that the people who are working on the bridge are safe as well. I want to thank Secretary Calavota, Administrator Scott Boyle, and all of the Region 2 staff for listening to the parish's concerns and then working to get that change order done to expedite the projects. Last but certainly not least, I think I have two things last we don't have slides for, but congratulations to St. Charles Borromeo Church for celebrating their tricentennial. I was honored to attend the tricentennial Mass over the weekend on Saturday, and just want to thank Father Mixie for his dedication to his congregation, as well as Louis Altamont and all of the people who were on the committee to make the celebration possible. If you don't know, they actually celebrated the tricentennial for an entire year previous to the tricentennial date. So the festivities kicked off in November of 2022 and concluded with the tricentennial Mass. Archbishop Gregory Amond was presided over the Mass, and there were several of the clergy who have participated in Mass there, as well as other folks who are connected in some way or another. So it was a great Mass to be at. And just a personal congratulations to Dick Gibbs and his daughter Lexi and Dylan Gibbs for completing an Ironman recently. If y'all don't know what an Ironman is, it's basically a triathlon. It starts with a 2.4 mile swim, followed by a 112 mile bike ride, and then finished off with a smooth 26.2 mile run, which is a full marathon. It's a huge achievement just to finish it. And I'm sure the next one you run, you're gonna win. So, congrats to you and your daughter and son.
Thank you.
Ms. Cormier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a quick question. I appreciate the update on Rathborne. Really glad to see the bathrooms coming to fruition there. That was much needed. This kind of ties into the budget. Rathborne parking expansion has been discussed and budgeted back and forth. I think there have been some issues through the years. I know it's not in the budget this year. Some of the projects I noticed were rolled over in the budget this year, which was very helpful, but this one was not. So does this mean maybe this one's not moving forward, or some issue?
Yes, there's a couple issues with that. So obviously we have a land donation issue. There was a sunset on the time for us to be able to start that project. We ran into issues with the grant having to extend, and we kind of missed that deadline. So the property automatically rolled back to Rathborne. Okay. Rathborne has intended that they want to roll that property back to us, and we've been working out the details with it. I think Bobby Raymond's here. He may be able to answer a little bit more about that, but he has been the kind of the lead on that project. And but the grant's out there, and we believe that when we go back for the grant, that we actually have an opportunity to secure more money than we were originally approved for. So that's going to be the plan, and really it's just trying to work through the best design for the park that isn't going to take away kind of the rural feel of that park. We don't want it to become a concrete jungle. So we're really just trying to work on the best design that's going to achieve enough parking to be able to hold our baseball games out there. And again, while taking into account the feel of the park.
That's fair. And was there not a match for the grant that had been budgeted before that we need to keep? No? Grant?
I don't recall, Grant, do you remember if there was a match?
I don't believe so. I don't know if, is Dwayne here? Or did he? He may not.
I'll get with Carla and see if we can
That's
get you that
fine.
information.
I know you guys will figure it out. It seems like it's a long way off. I would just, as long as we safeguard the possibility of whatever you want to do. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from the council? All right. Now we will move on to ordinances, resolutions introduced for publication and public hearing for Monday, November 20th, 2023, 6 p.m., Council Chambers Courthouse. That's item number 2023-0301, 2023-0307, 2023-0308, 2023-0309, 2023-0310, 2023-0311, 2023-0312. And ordinances resolution introduced for public hearing and publication for Monday, December 4th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Council Chambers Courthouse is item number 2023-0302. So now we have ordinances scheduled for public hearing introduced at a previous meeting. Item number 2023-0121, an ordinance to approve and adopt the appropriation of funds for the St. Charles Parish Consolidated Operating and Capital Budget for fiscal year 2024. Mr. Dewsome.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This is the 2024 budget. I believe we have one more presenter left.
One more. Yes, we do.
Then we'll be done. Mr. Gibbs.
So we will begin with the general fund. It's page 69 of your budget book. Council District 3, Dick Gibbs.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's no changes to the budget. I'd like to keep it as is.
All right. Are there any questions or comments from the council regarding that budget item? Doesn't look like there is. All right. Thank you, Mr. Gibbs.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dewsome.
That's it. I'm happy to answer any questions. If not,
Okay. Are any questions and comments for Mr. Dewsome from the council?
that too.
I'm sorry. Yes. Sorry. Ms. Gordon.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to make a budget amendment.
Okay.
Okay, so it is, okay, so it is to reduce my District 1 2023 budget account by $12,300 from account number 220, printing, duplication typing, $2,400, 241, postage and box rent, $4,700, 242, telephone, $1,500, 250, rentals, $700, 280, professional service, $1,500, 310, office supplies, $1,500. That's $12,300.
All right. So can you repeat your account number, please?
Okay. 220, just the account numbers. 241, 242, 250, 270. I'm sorry, not 270.
Not 270.
Not 270.
Okay, not 270.
280 and 310.
All right. So we have a budget amendment for District 1, the amount of $12,300.
Yes.
That's account number 220, 241, 242, 250, 280, and 310.
And I want to transfer it to account number 116-430-270. That's going to RSVP for recognition.
For recognition?
Yes.
All right. Reduced budget for District 1 in the amount of $12,300. 220 for printing, duplication, and typing in the amount of $2,400. 241 postage and box rental in the amount of $4,700. Account number 242 for telephone in the amount of $1,500. 250 rentals in the amount of $700. 280 professional services in the amount of $1,500. And 310 office supplies in the amount of $1,500. And transfer that to account number 116-430-270. That's RSVP for recognition. I have a second by Ms. Fonseca. Any council discussion? Mr. Fisher? Oh, no? Ms. Belloc? Not for that one? All right. Okay, please cast your votes for Council District 1. And that passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Gordon. Okay. Now, are there any other? Oh, Ms. Belloc, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a budget amendment to reduce the Sheriff's Office account 001-410-100, feeding and maintenance of prisoners, by $300,000, and transfer $300,000 from the general fund to roads and drainage account 1112-420-260, improvements other than buildings, Fairfield and Oakland pump stations.
Okay, I have a motion to reduce the Sheriff's Office account 001-410-100, feeding and maintenance of prisoners, by $300,000, and transfer the $300,000 to the general fund to roads and drainage account 112-420-260, for improvements other than buildings, Fairfield and Oakland pump station discharge. I have a second by Mr. Fisher. Is there any council discussion or questions? Ms. Cluley?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Grant, how much is left now to feed prisoners after we've taken?
It'll be just over $1 million. Just over $1 million.
Pardon me?
Just over $1 million.
Okay. And that is?
Yeah, last year they spent about $940. To date, I just ran it before I came up here, they've spent $771,000, and we're actually budgeting 1.2 for the rest of the year, so even if they spend 80, 90 a year, we still be covered. Because it's just an estimate, so, but they should be okay.
Thanks.
I wouldn't go any further, though. I'll just say that.
Oh, yeah, and the cost of food hasn't gone down,
Yeah.
so.
Mr. Jewell?
Grant actually just said it. I was going to recommend that they not move any further off of that budget. There's a statutory obligation that we pay that money. So it could be $0 in the budget, but the sheriff's going to issue a check or an invoice to us, and we got to pay that money. So I just second what Grant says, that we should stay conservative in that budget and not go any further.
All right. So, are there any other questions or comments? So cast your vote to reduce the sheriff's account by $300,000 for the feeding and maintenance of prisoners. That's account number 001-410-100, and transfer $300,000 from the general funds to the roads and drainage account 112-420-260, improvements other than buildings, for the Fairfield and Oakland pump station discharge. That's a motion by, we already have that motion. Please cast your votes. And that passes unanimously. Mr. Fisher? Mr. Fisher?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two amendments I'd like to make. First will be recreation. The first one is to add $75,000 in Fund 113, recreation improvements other than buildings for the resurfacing and repairs of the Good Hope Park walking path.
All right. We have a motion by Mr. Fisher for amendment to add $75,000 to Fund 113 for recreation and improvements other than buildings to the Good Hope Park walking path repairs. Did you want the other one as well?
Yeah,
Okay, and okay, she has a question. Ms. Cormier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a little clarification, the 75 is just being shifted within the recreation?
Shifted within recreation. We
Okay.
just want to give it a line item so that we can start looking at it.
Got it.
It's going to be a bigger project, but we need to have some money dedicated towards it.
Got it.
Okay. Are there any other questions and comments regarding this budget item? All right, we have a second by Ms. Belloc. Please cast your votes. And that amendment passes. You have another one, Mr. Fisher?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. The second one will be to add $100,000 in Fund 112, drainage account number 112-420-230, sidewalks and crosswalks, improvements other than buildings, Muntz Levy bike path repairs.
All right. Have amendment by Mr. Fisher to add $100,000 to Fund 112, drainage account 1112-420-230 for sidewalks and crosswalks, improvements other than buildings for the Muntz Levy bike path repairs. And I have a second by Ms. Fonseca. Any comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And that passes unanimously. Are there any other questions or comments from the councils or additional amendments to be made? Ms. Cormier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a couple of questions, and I'll direct you all to page 196 in your budget, Road and Drainage Paved Streets, Fund 112. This is a narrative explanation of capital outlay, and really my questions are going to go to the administration. I'm just looking for a little bit of clarification. The project in particular that I have most question about is the paving of Jeff Watson Boulevard. So I'm going to ask a question, but I'll follow it with some information. So is this another name for the Ashton extension? Is this the same project that, this council turned down by majority vote that had to do with the dog park? Was it the connector between the business park and the residential neighborhood? So that's part of the question. As most of you recall, this council did turn down that project due to several factors. And I know that we are in a different place right now. We've had a lot of traffic gridlock, if you will. I don't ever foresee that we will have these issues all happening simultaneously again in the future. So Ashton did take advantage of their gate through some of the issues over the last few weeks, and I think it served them well for that purpose. So, we're looking at the tune for this project. The engineering itself, $68,000, and the project itself is $900,000. So we're looking at about $1 million. I'm trying to get a little clarification. I'm not seeing that this project is any different than the one that we turned down some time ago. And with, amounts that Mr. Jewell, you just stated, $1.5 million. Is that what I heard? I don't remember exactly what the amounts were. For a lot of drainage projects that are not done, I have a hard time with this unless there's some significant difference to what we've seen before. So if you will, I will turn it over to you to give us a little explanation of what that project's all about.
Sure. This project extends Deputy Jeff Watson Boulevard from its current terminus at the animal shelter and extends it all the way connecting to Ashton Boulevard. The parish did agree to adopt the property that was donated by Rathborne Land Company, and the project is 95% engineered, other than, I believe, the bid documentation. The administration would like to move forward. I've had a lot of conversations with residents in Ashton. I don't believe the first time it came up that there was a full understanding of what this project would be. We're also designing the project, and we wish to construct the project with the added parking for the future dog park. So this is a component of the dog park. If we're going to build the road, it only makes sense to extend it. And I'll point to an issue that we had just the other night. Was that last night or the night before?
Traffic.
Where, well, because a train and a car collided at Ashton. I don't believe Jeff Watson, I don't believe Dufresne Parkway was blocked, but Ashton was, Paul Mallard was, all the other streets, Gasson, and so on, all the way down to Queenie Road were blocked. So it does make sense when you look at it from a planning perspective to connect that road. We had a great conversation a while back with the HOA there and talked about a couple of things that we'd like to put in place, the speed limit, no truck route, other things like that. So I think when you look at moving forward with it, it makes sense to do. It'll complement a future project as well. So it makes sense to do it now and not wait going forward. We do have to collaborate with the DOTD on the project as well.
I appreciate the explanation. I agree with you. We've been in a bit of a pickle with some traffic woes as of late, but I don't foresee that'll ever happen again. But what I would propose today, because this project has been, I don't want to say a point of contention, but it's been a lot of back and forth and a lot of confusion. What I would propose today is not to scrap the project as a whole. You guys keep going in whatever fashion you'd like to right now. However, I think it's only courtesy for us to give this new council the opportunity to make the decision. I would propose pulling the funds from this project and putting them in the general fund and leaving them there, not dedicating them to any other project, putting them there. If you also choose, the new council and the administration, to put it back in, it's a whole lot easier to put it back in than it is to take it out. So now that it's in, right now in front of us, if this were to pass this way, I don't think this council understands the magnitude of how hard and what actual recourse they may have if they do disagree with the project. So all I'm going to propose is that we pull this from the budget and put it into the surplus and leave it there. So the amount and the line item. So it's roads and drainage, account number 112-420-210. Page 196, the line item states, improvements other than buildings, paved Deputy Jeff Watson Boulevard, $901,200. Additionally, architectural and engineering fees, the same name of the project, the amount of $68,275, and move that to the general fund surplus.
All right, are there any comments and questions from the council? Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I recall correctly, the entire council did not agree with not doing this project. This was a few years ago. And I think since then, and also my discussions with the residents, the sentiment has changed, especially with the commercial development that is coming in the future. And it's currently being worked on up front. I've also heard from that developer, and while he wasn't for it at the time when we first visited it, he is for it now. So I think that waiting on any of these projects for the next council. You know, that could be said for any of these projects, and that's not what we're here for. We're here to do the business of the people. And I don't think this project is an exception to any of the ones that are currently budgeted, and don't feel like we need to wait on it. The administration has made some headway with this, and we saw last night, from an emergency perspective, it's certainly needed, first and foremost. So I support leaving it in the budget. Thank you.
Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. And Councilwoman Fish-Comey, I appreciate your comments regarding the issue. I know we disagree on this project particularly. I do want to remind the council and the future council coming that this is not the last vote that will be taken regarding this project. I mean, right now we're voting on a line item in a budget in totality of the entire budget, minus your amendment that you just made. But we'll have to ask for a testing contract from the council for this. We'll have to publicly bid this project and come to this council for approval of that publicly bid contract, and won't be able to move forward until the 2024 council or the 24 termed council approves that. So that's not to say that the future council comes in, they review the project, and after being publicly bid, they say, we don't want to do this. Or the bid comes back way higher than we'd like to see it, and we have to put the project on hold or try to move funds. There are other votes to be taken on this particular project. So I just wanted to remind the council members present and the council members who will be here in the future that they will be all taking a vote on this project as well.
Ms. Cormier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It seems that there's a lot of conflicting information as to, the real desire for this project. And that being said, I think a clean slate would be easier. Although the council does have the authority to turn down a publicly bid project, in the 11 years I've been here, it's almost impossible to do so once it's gone out for bid. It's an overhaul, and it's a really tough political job. It's a whole lot easier to pull money from the general fund to do a project that may be in the works. So I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to those that are coming before us. So it shouldn't be a big deal if this council decides, yeah, we want to do it. You pull it right out and you do your executive order and you move forward. I also want to make note that, these are parish tax dollars, and these are both, this road will benefit two private developers. That is something that this council needs to make a decision on. Do they feel okay using tax dollars to benefit private developers? I know we have some private developers in the audience that would love a parish-funded road as one of their access or ingress-egress points. So, it's just something this upcoming council needs to make a decision on. So I still stand with my motion to amend in the same fashion.
Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This road is going to benefit the public because the land was donated for the purpose of doing a dog park, and the road will actually give access to said dog park in the future. So it is not intended for private developers to benefit any of them. It's intended to be emergency access, ingress and egress. I know there are a lot of residents who, especially those that have boats, have said that it's really difficult to get out of the Ashton intersection to go on 310. And if they had access to Judge Dufresne Parkway, it'd be a lot safer to go that way to get on the interstate. So I see this as a public need, and also will give access to the future dog park. Thank you.
Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman, and I know this is my third time speaking. I just want to make the statement publicly that no developer from the Dufresne Parkway side or the Rathbourne side, outside of the negotiations or the talks of the donation that this council approved itself, have ever asked me, requested, or encouraged me to do this project. This project was on the books before I came into office, and it was always intended to be an extension of a road that allowed for access to the property in the middle of that large exit ramp, where DOTD has kind of said we can build that dog park. I know the dog park is something our residents want to see. It's something that we intend to do at some point. And it made sense when the opportunity came up to allow that road, instead of terminating in the middle of that DOTD property, to extend all the way to the Ashton Boulevard and make that connection. So I just want to make sure that point was clearly made, that nobody has tried to persuade or encourage me on a project that was here on the books before I even came into office.
Ms. Cormier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And by no means did I mean to insinuate that anything was done purposefully in that regard. But, you know, it's an indirect benefit, and I don't think there's anything that we can do about that. So I just think this is, it should not be tied to a dog park. I don't think that this road project should be, or the dog park should be completely dependent on this additional road project. And again, that's something that this upcoming council can decide. Do we want to look at a dog park as a separate entity, or do we feel like we have to connect these two developments to do so? It's been a hot button, and I think it's up to them to decide. And it's going to be a lot easier for them to do so if it's not already line itemed out. So, again, stand with my same amendment.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm kind of thinking on the thought plan of Councilwoman Cormier. And the reason I'm thinking is because we do have an incoming council member that does live in the subdivision. So she probably would have a little bit more input from the residents to even know what has been said, what they would like to see, what they don't want to see in reference to this particular street. So I'm kind of with Councilwoman Cormier on this, just to move the money, because the money can go back if is voted on by the incoming council.
Are there any other questions or comments from the council? Ms. Cormier, I'm going to need for you to please restate your motion.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to remove from account number 112-420-210, line item improvements other than buildings, paved Deputy Jeff Watson Boulevard, 196, page 196. The amount of $901,200. Additionally, under architectural and engineering fees, paved Deputy Jeff Watson Boulevard, $68,275 into the general fund.
Okay.
Not to be dedicated to any other project.
All right, Mr. Dewsome?
Yeah, there'll be one correction. Since these funds are public works funds and not transfers, it will just stay within public works.
Public works?
Mhm. Yeah, these are roads
Not
funds.
dedicated to anything.
So yeah, it would just be for roads.
Yeah.
So it will not move to general fund, but stay within public
Correct,
works.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, to restate, there's a motion by Ms. Cormier to remove line item in account number 112-420-210 from the line item improvements other than buildings in the amount of $901,200, and line item architectural and engineering fees in the amount of $68,275, and have that remain in public funds. I have a second by Mr. Dufresne. Please cast your votes. And it looks like that the motion passes. Okay. All right, moving forward here. File number 0121 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item or any of the items that we've discussed so far, please do so now. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Is there any council discussion about any of the items we've discussed so far or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes for on file number 2023-0121, an ordinance to approve and adopt the appropriation of funds for the St. Charles Parish Consolidated Operating and Capital Budget for fiscal year 2024 as amended. And that passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0280, an ordinance to approve and authorize the execution of an intergovernmental agreement between St. Charles Parish, the River Region Transit Authority, the RPTA, to provide supplemental funding for the operation of the public transit system. Mr. Palamone.
Chairwoman, I can take this.
Okay.
This is our standard agreement with the RPTA, and I believe we do this every year. I do have Corey Fauché, who is our representative on the RPTA board, who's here in the back, and I believe there's someone else from the RPTA here who can answer questions as well.
All right. File number 2023-0280 is now open for public hearing. And if there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0280. And that passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0281, an ordinance to approve and authorize the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Louisiana Department of Veterans Affairs, the St. Charles and St. Charles Parish for the provision of office space located in St. Charles Parish Courthouse at 15045 River Road, Hawnville. Mr. Raymond.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This also is the annual CEA between the state of Louisiana and St. Charles Parish. There are no changes to this one. It's a duplicate of the agreement from last year. Therefore, the price that the state's going to pay as well as what we pay is the same amount. And for the new council folks coming in, you'll be seeing this every year. State law requires that the state can pay a maximum of 75%, the 25% is on the parish. So it's the same unless the statute changes. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Billy, I know there was some confusion on a number of days that they would be providing somebody. I know Councilman Dufresne had brought it up. Is that agreement also say how many days they're going to be in the office?
Yes, 2 days, Tuesdays, Fridays.
Okay, excellent. They've been doing it pretty much. Have you heard anything? Okay. Just wondering if we had heard any complaints. I know there was a big.
Supposed to be Tuesday, Fridays, 9 to 3:30.
Can you follow it up on it to make sure we get that person and stuff?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll give y'all some feedback on that next week.
Is there any additional council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0281. That passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0282, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of Amendment Number 1 to Ordinance Number 21-3-2, which approved the professional services agreement with Bryant Hammett and Associates, LLC, for providing all necessary surveying services for the Primrose Canal Cleaning and Improvements Project, Parish Project Number P21 0202. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is additional survey services for the Primrose Canal project. We did a lot of surveying initially, and on Phase 5, we only took elevations and cross-sections. We've realized that we actually need to do a full topographic survey, so they're going to actually add those services and add that to what they've already done. That's about $7,970. And then the other one is important. It's a complete property boundary survey for Phase 1A, which is the project that is out there right now. And we had some of the property owners come to us and say they were a little concerned about where their property line was in association to the project. So we thought it would be advisory to us to go ahead and actually do a survey so we could locate those property surveys and stake them out so the property owners could see them and feel comfortable with what we were doing. And we would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2023-0282 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Mr. Dufresne.
Thank you. So, Miles, can we please keep these surveys this time so we don't have to do this again? Because this is an existing canal that's been in the parish forever, so you would think we'd have existing surveys on this. I can't, it's not like land's changing or growing. They could be losing land, right? So, but we're getting ready to put sheep piles to save them from losing land. But
that is correct.
I'm just a little dumbfounded that we don't have a survey that shows the lots on this, that we can't get access to one.
We have lot surveys, but they're like in the assessor's office, and you have to go out and reestablish them in the field, so that people can actually see where that lot line is.
So we're driving, staking it for them?
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay. So some people might lose fences when they don't have it, you know what I mean? You know how people like to extend their fence on other people's
over the
property?
line, that could happen, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there any additional council discussion or questions? All right, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0282. That passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0286, an ordinance to amend and/or supplement the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 3, Alcoholic Beverages, Article 1, in general, Section 3-1C, Location Restrictions, Section 3-4C, Consumption in public buildings prohibited. Section 3-6, consumption of alcoholic beverages in the parking lots prohibited. Ms. Gordon.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This ordinance is for the St. Charles Parish School Board LPAC Center. They have the performances where they are selling alcohol. They're not selling alcohol. The vendors are selling the alcohol. And they can only have 12 permits per year. So because the performances outweigh the permits is the reason why they are requesting that we change the ordinance. This ordinance has been worked on for several months between our legal department and also the school board legal department, as well as the administrative with the St. Charles Parish School Board. So I ask for your support.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon. File number 2023-0286 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and members of the council. I am Teresa Weber, Assistant Superintendent in St. Charles Parish Public Schools. My personal address is 130 St. Anthony Street, Luling, Louisiana. School board is 13855 River Road in Luling. So on behalf of the St. Charles Parish Public Schools Superintendent Ortling, thank you for allowing me an opportunity to speak on this ordinance. This evening, I will read a letter from Superintendent Ortling that I know some of you may have received this already, but he asked for me to please read this to you since he's unable to attend. Dear members of St. Charles Parish Council, regrettably, I cannot attend the council meeting this evening as I have a prior engagement. However, I wish to convey my complete endorsement for the proposed amendment to Ordinance 2023-0286. This amendment will permit the Dr. Rodney LaFawn Performing Arts Center to serve alcohol during non-school events, which I believe will be instrumental in advancing the center's operations and ultimately benefiting the students of St. Charles Parish Public Schools and our St. Charles Parish community. The Dr. Rodney LaFawn Performing Arts Center is a cultural gem in our community. It provides invaluable opportunities for our students to explore the world of performing arts, develop their talents, and expand their horizons. As a crucial hub of artistic expression and education, the center has consistently demonstrated its commitment to our students' growth and enrichment by providing unique art experiences for every child. Additionally, the center has served as a destination for residents in and outside of our parish to view world-class performances or use the venue to host events such as dance recitals, theatrical performances, or pageants. The proposed change to the ordinance allowing the center to sell alcohol during non-school events is a strategic and responsible approach to generating additional funds. These funds can then be reinvested into the center's programs and facilities, ensuring that the students have access to additional state-of-the-art resources and an enriching environment. This, in turn, will allow more students to benefit from the programs, workshops, and performances this center provides. I'm confident that by using an external vendor, the center's events will be responsible in selling alcohol while adhering to all necessary regulations and restrictions for safety. This approach will bring about potential economic benefits in the form of increased event attendance and greater community involvement and ensure the center's long-term sustainability. I encourage the St. Charles Parish Council to vote in favor of this amendment and thus contribute to the continued success and growth of our beloved Performing Arts Center. Together, we can ensure that the students of St. Charles Parish Public Schools have access to a world-class performing arts education and all opportunities that come with it. Thank you for considering my perspective on this matter. I look forward to witnessing this amendment's positive impact on the LaFawn Performing Arts Center and thus the community and students it serves. Best regards, Dr. Ken Ortling, Superintendent, St. Charles Parish Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Weber. Is there any additional questions from the public?
Good evening, Madam Chair, Council members, and Parish President. I am Tamika Green. My address is 102 Lac Penchant, Luling, Louisiana, and I am here on behalf of St. Charles Parish Public Schools as well, serving as the Executive Director of Equity and Student Support. I will briefly state that over the last 3 years, I've been blessed to support the LaFawn Performing Arts Center, and this amendment should be considered simply because the revenues do one great thing. They allow us to provide free art experiences to every student, grades K through 12, within our entire school system. In order for us to be in alignment with other amenities and other venues that I believe we are far beyond as far as the LaFawn is concerned in comparison, us being able to provide this offering makes us comparable and competitive. In addition, and thank you for aforementioning, that we get 12 permits a year with the current process, but with having 25 or more non-school-based events at the LPAC, we will run out of permits at the half of our school year, and that will then force us to have a half year without being able to have that service, therefore a loss of revenue, therefore confusing our patrons, therefore having to overly message at the half of every year that we are out of permits. And then the next year reminding them, oh, we have it again. And then last but not least, it just separates us from venues that are similar and likable. And at the same time, we lose the revenue that we only use to purchase shows for our students to have that benefit. So I'd just like to say thank you in advance for even considering this as an option, and amending the ordinance would make such a huge difference in the operations and the effectiveness that we provide for the students of St. Charles Parish Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have additional comments from the public? Please state your name and address for the record.
Will do. Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher Oakwen Malone, 4109 Cleveland Place in Metairie, Louisiana, but work at 275 Judge Edward Dufresne Parkway as the director of the Dr. Rodney R. LaFawn Performing Arts Center. The last piece of our tap dance up here to ask you to vote favorably for us is we did survey the thousands of folks that do purchase tickets and do come to the events at the center, as well as our faculty and staff of St. Charles Parish Public Schools, and 83% were in favor of us doing this. The folks that were that 13+% that were questioning that just had we're just hopeful that we would have something in place that would keep people from maybe over imbibing or those kinds of things, and so or being overindulgent at the performances. So we have increased security since we've started implementing the permit option that we have currently. Increased security both now with our new bag checks, but as well as police presence, and keeping our vendor having all of the necessary training and everything for their folks that are actually serving the alcohol and checking IDs and those kinds of things. So we just wanted to keep you all abreast of the folks that we surveyed and reached out to. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any additional comments from the public? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0286. I skipped council discussion. Terribly sorry. Was there any council discussion?
Move this along.
Yes, trying to move us along. That passes unanimously. I guess there was no discussion. File number 2023-0287, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of Amendment Number 1 to Ordinance Number 22-3-7, which approved the professional service agreement with Crescent Engineering and Mapping, LLC, for the King and Hahn Street drainage improvements. Project number P220202 in the amount not to exceed $149,707. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On this one, what we're doing on this project, the use of the property recently acquired by RES for a wetland mitigation bank was not available when we started this project for a large drainage canal. Following a discussion with them, they agreed to provide us a 100-foot drainage servitude for a new drainage ditch parallel to King Street just south of the subdivision. This servitude will allow for the elimination of the proposed box culvert on King Street at a savings of approximately $2 million to the parish. It will also allow the parish to extend the canal west of Julia Street and pick up drainage from Oak Street. This will greatly benefit that neighborhood in the sense of drainage. Due to the change, we have to sort of back up and re-engineer the project, and that's what this money is for. We have to update the hydraulic and hydrologic models. We have to modify the topographic and drainage surveys, prepare new right-of-way and servitude maps to show the RES acquisition, and update and resubmit permits, plus revise the plans and specifications. So the money that we're using here, we save like 20 times over.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2023-0287 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to speak regarding this item, please do so now. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0287. And that passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0288, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of the Act of Dedication for Heather Oaks Phase 2 Luling. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the final phase for the Heather Oaks subdivision. The final 80 lots and associated street and infrastructure improvements are all included. All fees have been paid, inspections completed, and documents submitted as per code. The final plat is on page 80, and the list of all associated documents is on page 81. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to assist you, and the various agencies with their approvals are here for those answers as well.
Okay. File number 2023-0288 is now open for public hearing. If anyone would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, council members, Parish President Jew. I'm Danny Hebert with Civil and Environmental Consulting Engineers, 14433 River Road in Hornville, representing Heather Oaks Phase 2. It's an 80-lot residential subdivision. The minimum lot frontage is 80 feet. The maximum lot frontage, I want to say, is approximately 145. And I'm here to answer any questions you might have. Thank you for your support.
Is there any additional public comment regarding this item? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Ms. Cluley?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Abear, where the street ends, I think it's Olivia, to the south, where it would tie in with the vacant lot?
Yes.
How is that going to be finished off? Because it doesn't look like it looked like it just ends.
Right, so there was I want to say a type 3 or type 4 barricade there originally. The contractor that built this phase, first.
Is it going to be changed from what's existing right now?
It's going to be barricaded properly.
Barricaded?
Yes, it will be. So what's happening right now is the contractor that is constructing, the prime contractor constructing your Lakewood project is utilizing that lot to dispose of some borrow fill. Once that is complete, that barricade will be reinstalled.
Is there going to be grass planted or any kind of trees or any kind of landscaping done in that area, or is it just going to be left?
Yeah, so that was actually, that lot was dedicated in the prior phase, not in this phase, but there was some discussion at that time about having some recreational amenities there. But I think the first goal is to fill it, is to have this borrow fill, to have it filled a little more adequately. And
Is it going to tie into the walking path, or is that not?
That road stub out?
Not the road stub out, but that area. Does that tie into the walking path at all, across the back?
I think that's ultimately the plan, is to do that by the homeowners association, correct? That lot is owned and maintained by the homeowners association, right?
All right, Ms. Fonseca?
Is there a timeline is that, or the homeowners have to? Because there are no homeowners there.
Right.
Yet.
That's right. I'd have to defer that question to the developer. Again, that was in the prior phase dedication.
Yeah, because I'm just saying, there may not be homeowners there with the interest rates that are in place right now for a little while, so you may have 6 to 9 months of just dirt.
And I'm not sure what the duration of the Lakewood subdivision is, but I know while that's ongoing, that they will access that area for placement of fill.
Thank you.
Ms. Fonseca?
Councilwoman Cooley asked pretty much what I was going to ask, because we had spoken about a connection to the bike path, and there isn't currently one. Although they can access it through Lakewood South and Lakewood Estates currently. But, the parish did not accept dedication of that lot. So it, as you mentioned, it'll be property of the homeowners association when one is established, or the developer had mentioned that he has hired a company to establish that and maintain it.
I'm going to have to
Date on
defer
that?
that to Mr. Guidry. I know he's in the audience tonight.
Oh, he
so,
is?
Yeah, I'm going to
Okay.
have to defer that to Mr.
Please,
Guidry.
come on up.
Please state your name and address for the
Cliff
record.
Guidry, 104 South Jefferson, Broussard, Louisiana, 70518. So the HOA is community management. It has been turned over. We have assigned all the dues from 2023 and all the future dues 2024, and that is going to connect to the walk path so that our residents, our lot owners, can enjoy that walk path as well.
So how does that, Mr. Guidry, how does that work when, I don't know if anyone is actually living back there currently. If they own a lot, they're going to be paying dues, obviously.
So out of the first phase, I think we had 89 lots, is that correct? So out of 89, we sold over 76, I think, 76 lots out of 89.
That's where your dues are coming from currently.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
So the homeowners, the community management will maintain that area? Okay. And then I guess at some point in time, they'll make a connection.
It's been allocated probably 4 months ago, so they maintain the HOA lot and they also maintain the entrance in the front.
The landscaping across the front?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. That does it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Is there any additional council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0288. That passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0289, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution, amendment number 1 to ordinance number 22-12-6, which approved the professional service agreement with Ames Group, Inc. for the Ormond Oaks Channel, project number P210203, in the amount not to exceed $67,403. The administration has requested that file number 2023-0289 be postponed indefinitely. File number 2023-0289 is open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. I need a motion and a second to postpone indefinitely item number 2023-0289. I have a motion by Mr. Fisher and a second by Ms. Fonseca. Please cast your votes to postpone indefinitely file number 2023-0289. And that passes unanimously. Resolutions. Item number 2023-0293, a resolution endorsing a waiver from Appendix C, subdivision regulations of 1981, Section 3, Geometric Standard C, Lots 1, size as requested by Mr. Louis Anthema for Mary Shabbat, Pam Plaisance, Jessica Cortez, Barbara Fulse, Michael Fulse, Richard Fulse, and Jesse Fulse. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a minor re-subdivision going from 1 lot into 5 following a court-ordered judgment, following a case with litigants splitting up a piece of ground. I know there is some concern about this from the public. There is my understanding from the legal department, the road surface has a tacit dedication as a street on it. That means it will continue to be used in the way that it's been used. The subdivision is of the ground underneath that street, having no actual effect on the pass-through. As part of processing this, in order to follow what was ordered by the judge, the subdivision has to, as has been put right now, appear as it does on page 138, which requires several waivers both for lot size and dimensions. None of these are standard shape. There's multiple instances on up and down the Bayou Road of private ownership of the ground underneath that street. If there's any other questions about the legalities of that dedication, I'll defer to Mr. Raymond on this. We did not provide a recommendation as such because we are simply following what was in the judgment. The Planning Commission approved the request as well as the waivers. Before you, you have the resolution to support the waiver request. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2023-0293 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Louis Althema, 13919 River Road, Suite 300 in Luling, appearing on behalf of the applicants. Only 2 things are changing: the ownership of the land itself and the configuration of the land. Nothing else is changing in terms of the use. So in terms of ownership, it was owned way back many decades ago by the Schubert family. Then it was subdivided within the Schubert family. And Willie Schubert ended up with this strip of property along down the Bayou Road, between down the Bayou Road and Schubert Lane. Willie died in 1964. So his estate has been in ownership of this divided strip of property since 1964. Sometime around 2017, 2018, we amended Willie's succession to include this strip of property that had basically been left off or forgotten. And in that process of amending his succession, now his descendants, which are large in number, own this strip of property. And all they're doing is dividing it up into 5 as equal as possible parcels of ground, because Willie had 5 children. So each branch of his family is now going to receive one individually owned segment of this original strip of property. As I said a minute ago, the use is not going to change in terms of the public use. There has never been a dedication of Down the Bayou Road, but there has been for decades a legal rite of passage, a legal servitude over the surface of the property. But the ground itself, the dirt and whatever's beneath the dirt, is still privately owned from Willie's life after Willie's life. And so that's not changing. We're just asking for the configuration to change so that each branch of the family can have a separately owned lot. That's it in a nutshell.
All right. Are there any other people that would like to come up and speak regarding this item? Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Faith Fricky, 250 West Bayou Road, Des Allemands. We have several here that are speaking for a generation that are in their 90s and their 80s. This generation were simple people, fishermen, lived on the water. They gave up land to make this blacktop road. Now, these same people, with all good intent, maybe didn't follow the law, but there was a crippled boy at the end of the road. They wanted buses to get to him. They wanted ambulance. So a blacktop road was given. Now, they gave it to the parish. They never had any intent of saying, generations later, we want to own under the road. So by starting this can of worms, we now have a street. Everybody wants their ownership now under the blacktop road, excuse me. So what we're concerned about is this road that was made for a bus to get to this crippled boy has stopped. The end of the road no longer wants buses back there. So we've seen changes happen by giving people ownership under this blacktop road. Now, this generation, my mom's 84. She's part of this generation. She knew what the intent was, and with good intent, these people wanted it to be a public road. Did they dedicate it? Probably not. They didn't do the proper procedures. But now, generations later, we're being told people want ownership of under the road. So this parish has been having this road over 60 years as a public road. Nobody has ownerships. But opening this can of worms, we now have a bunch of people that want ownership, want the deed, want the title of under the road. So at this point, can my mom come up? She's 84.
Yes.
Thank you.
She sure can. Is there any additional discussion? Hello, ma'am. Please state your name and address for the record.
Okay, I'm Mary Shippett Marcel. I'm Willie Shippett's daughter. We gave the property that we supposedly own under the road, we gave it to the parish. They filled it with mud, they blacktopped it. And same with the lane that went down our street. We gave property so that they could build a road to the back because they had houses back there. They had, like I said, a crippled boy. We had to have access all the way. Now they got houses further down from us that have to have access to on this road. So it is, in my eyes, a public road. I mean, people come and go, turn around, come back, And it's been used like that, like my daughter said, 60 years. Now they want to claim that we own under the road. How do you own under a road? I don't understand that, you know? So that's the issue. The road is public. Are they going to block the road and not let no buses pass, or, you know? I don't know the situation, but all I know is we gave the road, the money, a lot, and they built the road.
Thank
So
you.
to me, it's a public road.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional public discussion regarding this item? Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, my name is Lakin Bordelon. I live at 619 down the Bayou Road. And so that's my mom and my grandmother. Since then, I have purchased the house associated with the property. And so I kind of come in on the tail end of things. I don't really understand, you know, what happened before I was here. But just like they've stated, our concern is, as Mr. Lewis stated, nothing changes except this, you know, owning under the road. Well, what benefit comes with that? If nothing changes, why are we discussing this, and what benefit comes with that? Because, you know, just seeking privilege as to personal use, we've learned the hard way that that will affect other people, many other people down the road. And so we just want to fully understand, you know, what potential things can happen later on, and if this is given to them, is it given to all 5 separate lots that are being separated? Does each person now own under the road, and what benefit comes with that? What does that fully mean? That's it.
Thank you. Hello, ma'am. Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Peggy Fricky, 185 Shipper Lane. And I'm neighbor to these people. But the road, I'm living there 50 years. And the road was public, and the parish made a bus turnaround back there, which they stopped. What are we to say if they stop the front? How are we going to get our garbage? Because the garbage man got to back up. Now, he can't turn around. So we worried, who's going to, you know, we worried about our garbage, we worried about our delivery. If they said they clean it like they cleaned the back, we blow it up. We have no right of way. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any additional public discussion or comment? Seeing none, public comment is now, oh, I'm sorry, we do have another. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
I'm Nelda Stedham Woodruff, and I live 615 down the Bayou Road. Thank you, Madam Chairman. I appreciate this. I received a letter because I own the adjoining property to them, and it's been a big dispute. And the problem is that, okay, so they each got their lot. Why are they trying to come back into the road 5 more feet? What is the purpose? If it's not going to change anything, why do this? Why give them that? And if so, are they going to give everybody 5 feet under the road? Are we going to be able to stop people that we don't like going down there? Or what is this going to cause? You know, I mean, they have their own property. I feel like they're going to try to build a crab trap, and nobody wants that down there, okay? We're a very peaceful, quiet area. There would be a lot more traffic in that case if there was a business, and the road is not really a great road anyways, you know, to have all this traffic. Where the bus does turn down, well, it can't turn down Shipper Lane, because they can't go back there at the end anymore. So they're going to go down this little road Are they going to have to go, are these people trying to park there? Are they going to build something within this 5 feet? What's the other, the garbage man, the UPS, this or that, how are they going to turn around? What is it going to affect them? What's going to be coming of the end of the bayou that's very peaceful? If there is any reason why y'all say that there is a reason for him or these people to want their 5 feet, what would be the reason if nothing's going to change? Question.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm able to answer it, I will, but it's your time.
Well, I could say a whole lot more, but then I get emotional and upset. And there's a lot of people down there that are upset. There are only less than a handful that wants this. And it's a big problem. It's a problem, and shame on them is all I can say, because this is just not right to be taking a road that these other people that do own it, their section actually is in front of other people's houses, okay? And are they going to be able to park right in front of, would you like a bunch of people parking in front of your house?
Your time has expired at this time. We do have several questions from the council.
Okay.
That might answer some of the questions that you have at this time, but we need to get to that portion of it before questions can be asked.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
fine.
All right.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you. Is there any additional hearing comments? Seeing none, any council discussion? Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Louis,
I'm sorry,
would you?
public hearing is now closed. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Would you like to respond to some of those comments?
Certainly, and I respect the comments and the questions and the concerns. First of all, I think it's worthy to note that Mary Schubert is an applicant. She's one of Willie's 5 children, so she's applying for this, okay? So that's important to understand. She's an applicant in this process. When I say
Does
nothing,
she understand that?
I don't know. Miss Mary, do you understand?
She doesn't want to know what they're trying to do.
Okay, well, let me back up.
Okay.
Miss Mary has participated in the amendment of her father's succession to accept her inheritance, her 1/5 inheritance of this strip. Mary also participated in the litigation, and in that litigation entered into a consent judgment where she agreed to accept lot number, excuse me, Mr. Raymond, 156A, which is the biggest of the 5, because Mary's house faces down the Bayou Road, faces Bayou des Allemands, and the largest portion of this 50-foot strip is being allocated to Mary. Okay? And that's with the consent of the other 4 branches of the family. So Mary gains more than anyone in this process. Okay. Now, in terms of nothing changing, when Willie Schubert died in 1964, he died without a will, so by operation of law, his ownership automatically devolved down to his descendants, one of which was Mary, and then the other 4 kids. So they physically, legally own this property, which originally...
That's not changing.
That's not changing.
Okay.
But once we split it into 5 separate pieces, Mary gets her part of the piece, and then the other 4 get their parts. They're going to own it each individually 100%.
And this is already a court-ordered
Court-ordered.
judgment. And
That's
the way
done.
I understand it is all we're doing here is complying with the court-ordered
That's right.
judgment, just granting the waivers. Is that correct, Michael?
From what I read, the judgment ordered the new owners to apply for a subdivision that would reflect what was in the judgment.
Which is what Lewis has done on their behalf as their representative, right?
The only reason the council's hearing this is because the lots are completely irregular and require waivers to be completed.
Right.
So even though, and again, I respect her concerns, she doesn't want ownership. She already has it.
Okay.
Through Her father owning it, her father dying, her father's succession being done, the litigation, the consent judgment, all resulted in ownership passing down. But as we sit here right now, that strip is owned by those 5 families. And once we divide it into 5 separate pieces, Miss Mary has already signed a voluntary partition document, which is in essence, one of the 5 donates her interest to the other 4 and vice versa, and it goes back and forth until the ownership ends up 100% in one branch of the family's name. That's already been signed. It hasn't yet been recorded because we want this subdivision plat to be a part of that voluntary act of partition. I don't want to boil this thing down to a technicality, but that's really what we're doing, is we're just approving what's already been agreed to by the property owners, what's already been ordered by the court. And the public's use is not going to change. Because if it were going to change, it already would have changed, and it hasn't. So there's nothing in what's been filed affects the public at all. Bus, garbage, anything in between.
We're not dealing with ownership here at all. If there's an issue with the ownership, that would have to be addressed through the courts, not
When you say
here.
ownership, you mean use maybe?
Well, I'm just.
You're not
I
dealing with
received-
ownership, you're dealing with legally
Correct,
approving
but
a
I think
division of
the
property.
property owners from the phone call that I got feel like we're dealing with ownership here
No,
tonight.
you're not dealing with ownership.
And we're
No,
not.
No,
That's already been addressed
Yes.
in the courts.
yes.
So in order for that to be changed, it would have to
Go back
be
to the
addressed in the
courts.
courts,
Yes.
not here. All we're doing here is just complying with what the court ordered and granting the waiver to comply with the court order. I don't know if that makes it any clearer.
Yeah.
Do you have a question, ma'am? Do you want to come back up?
You need me to restate my name and everything again?
Yes, please.
Okay, Lake and Bordelon, 619 down the Bayou Road in Desalmond. So we understand that we're not here to argue the ownership. That has already been settled in court. The question is, the settlement from the judge did not mention anything about under the road. So we came to the original meeting thinking that we would, have the hearing. When Mr. Lewis presented the case, he mentioned under the road, and that's where the concern came, because that was not mentioned in the judgment from the judge. And so that's the red flag for us. That's the concern. That part was not mentioned in the judgment. This kind of appeared at the last meeting, and we're trying to understand why it appeared, and why are we trying to sneak it in there with the original judgment.
We let
Okay.
him address that
So
piece.
public hearing is closed, so we need to continue with council discussion?
You can call him up during, I brought her up.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. So Louis, would you like to respond to that? Would you like to? Go ahead.
I owned the house in the front, but I sold it to my daughter. And I got a little house in the back of the big house because it was too big for me. She, in turn, sold it to my granddaughter. So I don't claim that house. It's her house. And it's written in the courthouse that she bought it from us, So what we worried about is if our lot is supposed to be up to the road. The lot that John Chippett has is up to the road. So, okay, if they got under the road, what are they going to do with it? They can't break the road. It's a public road. So that's our concern. We don't know what they got in mind to do with what they want. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Do you want to address that?
I would like to defer to Mr. Raymond for a minute, because I think he needs an opportunity to
Chairwoman,
speak.
can I make a statement,
Yes,
if you allow me?
yes, I would.
The applicants own the property subject to the right-of-way. So that right-of-way is there. So anybody saying that they're going to block the road, that they're going to prevent a road that the parish has a tacit dedication on, has built and maintained for the last 60 years, just doesn't know what they're talking about. If anybody were to do that, we would file an emergency injunction immediately and have that road opened back up. Additionally, it was made a comment about, oh, they own this road, well, what are they planning to do? The zoning of that area still applies. So nobody can do anything outside of the existing zoning if they even had the square footage to do it, because the property is also subject to the right-of-way on top of it. So that right-of-way is not going anywhere, and no one's going to be preventing anybody from getting passage through there. And Bobby, you can add to that if you'd like.
Bobby Raymond, representing St. Charles Parish. Mr. Jewell is correct. This is a public roadway that happens to be on private property. It's a servitude. Let's use the word that we're familiar with. It's a servitude in favor of the public, in favor of St. Charles Parish. So this subdivision simply draws lines across a bigger lot. Imagine if this building, let's say you're one of 4 children. I don't know how many siblings you have, if any, but if you're one of 6 children, and your parents pass away and they have a 6-acre piece of property, and each of the kids, instead of 6 people owning 6 acres, you divide that 6 acres into 1-acre sections, and each of you gets a piece. That's what this does. That's all it does. It doesn't change the characteristics or the use of the property. If there's a road on it, if there's a canal, a drainage canal, a telephone line, all of those are servitudes. They are still there. And as Mr. Jewell said, if someone tries to interfere with the public's use, they're going to get shut down because it's a public road. I'd venture to say the property out here on River Road is privately owned. The levee is privately owned. But as far as the levee goes, the levee board has a servitude. Go try to put something on that levee and see what happens. The levee board's going to pounce. If someone tries to put a toll gate on their private property on which River Road sits, guess what? DOTD is coming, and they're going to shut it down. It's a public road. It's not going to change. The use will not change. Now, there was some concern about perhaps a crab trap manufacturing place or something. As Mr. Jewell said, that is a zoning issue. That's not before this council tonight. If someone wants to come and put a restaurant there or a crab trap manufacturing facility there, they have every right to come apply. Somehow I have a feeling it will fail. But anyway, that's what this is. We're dividing a piece of property, or the applicant is asking that this piece of property, which is owned by a group of people, be divided legally 5 ways, so each branch of the family can get their 1/5 share. That's all it does.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Dufresne.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Bobby, so did I hear right that the road was never dedicated?
I think that I'm not aware of a formal dedication.
Well, let's do that now. Mr. Alderman, you willing to do that?
I can tell you that I searched for a formal dedication. I hired an abstractor to search for a formal dedication, and Stephen Flynn, surveyor, searched for it himself and did not find it and testified in court. There is no dedication as you typically think of a dedication.
Well, can we do it? What's stopping it from being dedicated now?
Nothing's stopping. You would need surveys. You would need the consent
He
of all
just
the
said,
owners.
Mr. Alderman just said he has all those surveys.
No, I didn't
We
say
have.
that. I said a surveyor
Surveyor,
searched for a
okay.
dedication and didn't find a
Okay,
dedication.
well, I don't want, could we,
Can who do it?
I mean, can we have it dedicated? Would it,
If they choose to do a formal dedication, and if the parish is willing to accept a formal dedication, but there's no need to. There's no need to. And I promise you, River Road is private property, subject to a servitude in favor of the public. That's just the way it is. The statutory scheme that created formal dedications didn't come along until later in life, so to speak. All of these other roads that pre-existed the statutory scheme are informally or tacitly dedicated by use. And as long as the public uses and maintains, it's not going away. The lead case is P&L Investment versus St. Charles Parish School Board. It's a Louisiana Supreme Court case. It was in the late 80s, early 90s. I litigated it, and I'm very familiar with it. It's a long time ago, but that's still the law. So.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just saying, if it wasn't dedicated, what would it take for us to have it
Well,
dedicated?
it would take the consent of the landowners to formally dedicate the property to, or the property to the St. Charles Parish, and St. Charles Parish would have to accept it. Can it be done? Yeah, it can be done.
Yeah, I mean,
But
since
it's
we've been
an- it's-
maintaining it for 60-something years.
It's an expense. It's an unnecessary expense,
Yeah.
in my opinion, but anyway.
And in the deeds for these lands, does it say to the water's edge or into the water?
Councilman Dufresne, I don't know. St. Charles Parish was not a party to the underlying litigation that addressed all of these issues.
I understand.
I'm not familiar with
point I'm
the
asking.
deeds, the individual deeds. My suspicion is we're talking about one deed, and that being the deed to Willie, I think Willie Shabbat?
Chuppet.
That's probably the only deed there is. The next link in the chain of title, I would suspect, would be the judgment, the amended judgment of possession that Mr. Altamont talked about earlier. And then the next deed is going to be the voluntary transfers or partitions of the one lot into five between them among the common owners.
Yeah, so, I mean, the problem, and I live on a bayou, and my deed says to the water's edge, or to as far on the water as I have. So, when that land was purchased, however many years ago, 70 years ago by my grandparents that I have, it probably went out further.
Probably
right?
so.
But you can't, the only people that can build bulkheads now is the parish, it seems that way, because we get shut down where I live. So, I was just wondering if they could build land off of it.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that. I'm not prepared to comment on that.
So, and you can't park.
You
can't park on the side of it because now it's deemed a
Yeah, they can
some
park there,
kind
but
of
they're gonna get
fan-
tickets.
you know,
The
right
sheriff
of
is
way,
gonna show up.
waters. Yeah.
The sheriff is gonna show up and.
Scenic
and
waterway.
Deal with that, so,
Okay.
okay?
Is there any additional council discussion? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. Please cast your votes for file number 2023-0293. And that passes with Mr. Dufresne and Ms. Belloc voting nay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 2023-0294, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a cooperative agreement between Louisiana Department of the Treasury and the State of Louisiana and St. Charles Parish regarding the allocation of $75,000 to be utilized for the LaBranch Wetland Watchers Park. Hello, Ms. Chasson.
Good evening. So I actually have 7 items that are very similar. These are cooperative endeavor agreements for funding from the state. They've allocated some money through their last fiscal year or this current fiscal year for various projects throughout the parish, and your approval is necessary for us to enter into those agreements. So this first one we have up is the $75,000 for the LaBranch Wetland Watchers Park. So if you have any questions, just let me know.
File number 2023-0294 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0294. That passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0295, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between the Louisiana Department of the Treasury and the State of Louisiana and St. Charles Parish regarding the allocation of $300,000 to be utilized for the repairs of the Des Allemands bulkhead. Ms. Chasson.
Self-explanatory. Let me know if
thing
you have
again.
any questions.
All right. File number 2023-0295 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up regarding this item and speak, please do so now. Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0295. That passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0296, a resolution to approve and authorize the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between the Louisiana Department of Treasury, State of Louisiana, and St. Charles Parish regarding the allocation of $300,000 to be used for Engineers Canal Bank Stabilization Project Phase 1 project in Norco. Same thing, Ms. Chasson?
Ma'am.
All right. File number 2023-0296 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address. Seeing none, is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0296. That passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0297, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between the Louisiana Department of Treasury, State of Louisiana, and St. Charles Parish regarding the allocation of $400,000 to be utilized for the purchase of two 24-inch water pumps.
Yes,
Same
ma'am.
thing, Ms. Chasson.
Yes, ma'am.
File number 2023-0297 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Any council, yes, Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to specify that I inquired, and these pumps are for wastewater. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fonseca. Is there any additional council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0297. That passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0298, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between Louisiana Department of Treasury, State of Louisiana, and St. Charles Parish regarding the allocation of $525,000 to be utilized for the West Bank Spray Park. Ms. Chasson.
Yes, ma'am. This is going to be going to the one that is currently under construction now.
All right. Thank you. File number 2023-0298 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Seeing none, is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0298. That passes unanimously. Item number 2023-0299, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between the State of Louisiana Department of Treasury, and St. Charles Parish regarding the allocation of $500,000 to be utilized for the Des Allemands boat launch construction.
Yes, ma'am.
Same thing, Ms. Okay, thank you. File number 2023-0299 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0299. That passes unanimously. And finally, the last one for Ms. Chasson. 2023-0300, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between the Louisiana Department of Treasury, the State of Louisiana, and St. Charles Parish regarding the allocation of $500,000 to be utilized for the East Bank Bridge Park revitalization and repairs. Mr. Fisher. I'm sorry, wait a minute. File number 2023-0300 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to speak, please come up now. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Mr. Fisher. Council discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to mention, I want to thank, Senator Smith and Representative Miller, Parish President Jewell for their hard work to go get this money. It's just an example of the things we're going to need in the future for funding. President Jewell talked about $51 million for St. Rose. I know we need money for that. So these type of things are going to, if there's money available, Carl, you're doing a fantastic job with it. And I just want to say thank you for it, because we're going to need every dime we can get.
I'm going to give the credit to Parish President Jewell. He's worked very hard to get these funds. I'm just the lucky soul that gets to come up and be the person who brings you the funding agreement.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there any additional council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2023-0300. And that passes unanimously. Meetings, announcements, notices, et cetera. Thank you, Ms. Chasson.
Thank you.
Meetings, Housing Authority, Tuesday, November 7th, 2023, 6 p.m. at Council Chambers. Communications District 911, Monday, November 13th, 2023, at 5 p.m. in the Council Chambers. Library Board of Control, Tuesday, November 14th, 2023, at 6 p.m. in the Council Chambers. Board of Adjustment, ZBA, Thursday, November 16th, 2023, 6 p.m. in the Council Chambers. Pontchartrain Levy District, Monday, November 20th, 2023, at 6 p.m. Pontchartrain Levy District Headquarters Complex, 2069 Railroad Avenue, Letcher. St. Charles Parish Council meeting will be Monday, November 20th, 2023, at 6 p.m. in the Council Chambers. Announcements, important dates for the November 18th, 2023 election. Early voting is from 8:30 a.m. till 6 p.m. Monday, November 6th through Thursday, November 9th, 2023. But we are closed Friday, November 10th, 2023. Reopened Saturday, November 11th, 2023. West Bank Courthouse, 15045 River Road in Hahnville. East Bank Arterbury Building, 14546 River Road, New Sarpy. Tuesday, November 14th, 2023 is the last day to request absentee by mail ballots. Friday, November 17th, 2023 is the last day to register to receive voted absentee ballot. Saturday, November 18th, 2023 is Election Day from 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. There's a parish holiday on Friday, November 10th, 2023, Veterans Day. Desterham Plantation Fall Festival is November 11th and 12th, 2023, Desterham Plantation. And finally, adjournment. A motion and a second is needed to adjourn. I have a motion by Ms. Gordon and a second by Ms. Belloc. Please cast your votes to adjourn. And that passes unanimously. On behalf of the Parish Council, we wish everyone a happy Veterans Day. Have a great evening. We are officially adjourned.